Okay, where do we begin on how to 10x your detailing business without losing your mind? All right, are you ready? Well, first things we got to do, we have to know where to start. Well, where do we normally start? Well, most people would think that you start with goal setting and getting your head straight and getting your money straight, and that is exactly where you should start. But I'm going to have you start a little bit different. Before we go and do the heavy lifting, I want to start somewhere else. I want to start with establishing your purpose. Why do you get up in the morning? Why are you here? Why do you push yourself? Why are you in business? Why do you even want to help yourself move forward? What problem do you want to solve? Why do you wake up in the morning? What drives you? What pushes you? Where do you want to be in 5 years and 20 years? Do you need money to pay for the college of your kids? Maybe your kids aren't even born yet, but maybe you have kids and they're going to be in college soon. What about retirement? Are you prepared for retirement? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a detailer? Or are you a business owner? You might want to think about that. That means you're a risk taker. Or are you not a risk taker? Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe I've already said enough and you've heard enough, and it's time to hang up your polisher and go get a JOB, a just over broke. Okay? But for those, go ahead and go do that. But if you want to stay here and learn how to 10x your business, please stick around because we're going to talk about a lot of great stuff. Okay, if you're from Jim Rohn, one of my favorite motivational speakers, the late Jim Rohn, he said, if your why is strong enough, then the how is easy. So you need to figure out your why, your why, your purpose. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? I know that this might seem like a crazy way to begin all of this, but you need to know why you're getting up in the morning. Okay, so figure that out. What is it that you're working for? Why would you want to, what are you working for? Your family, legacy, home, retirement, your kids, your spouse? Maybe you're trying to figure out how to stay out of jail. I don't know. It happens. Maybe it's all ego. Maybe you have nothing better to do, and it sure beats a job. Either way, whatever your reason is, you need to find your purpose. Why are you doing that, okay? And Mr. Eric Thomas, PhD, when you want to be successful as much as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. And you can look online on YouTube and find one of his videos that talks about the story about the entrepreneur that went to the guru and he wanted to be mentored by the guru. So anyways, go to YouTube and check that out. All right. So why should we do all this? Well, this is the one thing you have to ask yourself, is all of the pain, the possible failure, financial risk, mental stress, how about physical stress? How about the hard work? Does that all equal the rewards of massive success? You could fail. So what? You got to go out there and try is the way I look at this. You got to go out there and knock it. If what did Wayne Gretzky say? You miss every shot you never take. So take a bunch of shots, okay? For those who accept the role of business owner, we think it's worth it. We have rewards. That customer's happy. There's money in the bank. I'm going to SEMA, representing my company. There's a lot of different ways. Sometimes you only make enough to get by. This isn't really the course for that. This is the course to do a lot more than just getting by. 10x in your mindset and your money and your business. That's why we're here. Okay. So again, I'm gonna go on the negative side. I'm normally positive 99% of the time, but if what I just said is not worth it to you, please. And if you can't muster the energy to commit to success, I ask you to turn this off, go find a nice job, sit back on the couch, watch TV, and move on. But for those that want to 10x it, hey, I'm right here to help you the whole way. So, I want to thank you for making the commitment, for being here on this course, listening to what I have to say. It's time to work on your purpose. It's time to work on your list of whys. That's where you need to start. That's what this chapter is all about. You need to start here. You need to figure out your purpose and your whys before you move on to the next section. Sound fair? All right, we'll see you in the next chapter.